because, if refs are on basically what we're going to say as an average for ease of maths and to not be too far away from the truth, 4 per TV game goes to the video ref, let's say. So that's a grand a game for them. So say they get, I don't know, a dozen or so TV games a year each, then that's giving them basically 50% of the salary on top again.
Yeah,
that's where all the money in rugby league's going.
And that's why Phil Bentham walks around with that big Rolex watch you see him with. It's not just for time in the game. It's because he's earning so much money that he has to do something with it. He's rolling into stuff.
Being the video ref, not getting to.
Well, maybe they must be on a share of a cut though. They must be getting a percentage of it too.
Well, that's apparently what it is.
I thought the reason Phil Bentham was always the video ref is because he keeps getting himself injured.
Right,
it's the only safe place for him, sat in a nice comfy chair.
Right, stats then. Stats suggest Wigan by the end were better at everything other than keeping hold of the ball. They lost a 13-8 error count, but were a bit better than Leeds at making ground, 169 metres more, a slightly better average gain. They created more chances, 6-2 in clean breaks, as well as only allowing 2 breaks in defence. Wigan also had a 97% team tackle success rate, which was 5.7% better than what Leeds threw up. Wigan had more carries and made more tackles, and ultimately were rewarded for that extra work with the win. Individually, John Bateman exemplified that extra work with the charge down of the drop goal attempt at the end there. John Bateman, 7 tackles, 163 metres, 5 successful offloads, one of those in the process of setting up the try. Willie Icer, 45 tackles, 10 marker tackles, 146 metres, so he worked really hard. I think he played almost every position in the pack other than left second row and hooker, and was on the pitch for the full 80, so he did a cracking job there, working hard like he always does. Liam Farrell, another one try assist, 48 tackles, 16 I've missed the one off that. 16 marker tackles from the Ginger Pearl, 152 metres, and Ryan Sutton, 132 metres. A lot of that came on that big booming break towards the end. For the losing Leeds Rhinos side, Tom Briscoe had a try in 129 metres. Ryan Hall had 170 metres, helped largely by piss easy kicks being put up to him that Liam Marshall was never going to compete for. Brett Delaney worked hard in defence as well as at taking time off the clock with 43 tackles, 17 of which were marker tackles, so big effort from the old fella there. Adam Cuthbertson returned and made 151 metres in this week, and we move from one hot streak to another as we pick up Warrington's 6th win in a row, 40 points to 26 over your Hull Kingston Rovers in front of 9,305. Jack Smith was the referee for this one. Do you want to start with the fan reviews?
Not really, no. Wyatt Joe said, scratchy performance from us today. It feels like you'd fallen in love with ourselves because of our recent form, and you can't help thinking that a team with more quality would have picked us off. Daz Clark was exceptional as always, and Benny Westwood continues to prove me wrong after I called for him not to get a contract renewal last year. He put in a big shift all afternoon.
I'm on the fence about
SPW.
Do we know how? No. Do we know how long Roby's out for?
All I keep hearing is significant. That's as much as I've seen is, and I would take by that a month at least, if not.
Because Darryl Clark's got to be the man that's replacing him in my dream team, I think. The way it's going. Lee Whitnell said, we made hard work of that today, absolutely cruising at half-time, and then had a complete meltdown in the first 10 minutes of the second to undo all the hard work. We capitalised on some KR errors to get the win in the end, but there's plenty of room for improvement. Lunt was injured in the first few minutes, which is a huge miss for them. Hope he recovers quickly. Yes. Second minute, he'd not done anything. He'd not made a tackle. He'd not...
No, and given he was, not
had
long
a
back
carry, he'd not had a pass, he'd done nothing, and injury curse strikes him again. He's one of the unluckiest players this year for injury.
And he didn't even have to walk into a door this time, which was even worse. But another thing, I bet that's ruined a few people's dream teams as well, because I bet he's a hooker that a lot of people would have put into their dream team, given that he does take such a lion's share of the responsibility. And I did see that Rovers are out looking potentially for a short-term replacement to tie him
Who's on the market?
Well, I'm guessing there must be someone under 20 in Australia somewhere that will want to come over. That's the only thing I'd be aware of. Would be someone.
Because they're looking for a signing, aren't they? Not a loan signing. Is that right? They're looking for someone to the end of the year.
I think so. Yeah.
If they wanted a loan signing, then they might come knocking on Wigan's door and seeing if Josh Ganson's available. But I don't want him going over there getting injured, like all the hookers seem to. But anyway, yeah. Lee Whitnell. I've done Lee Whitnell, so Tom Eckley for you to do.
Yeah, felt bad at half time because this Rovers team honestly can't catch a break with injuries. Amen to that. Then after half time, they came out swinging, but in the end, the numbers caught up with Rovers and left a very flattering scoreline.
Yeah, so that is the big thing that I took away from this game was the injuries affecting Hull Kingston Rovers and Warrington putting up 40 points. They're the two main takeaways. So Warrington have needed to show that they can score some points, play some loose kind of rugby and excite the fans a little bit in attack. Maybe the 26 points that were mostly conceded in that first 10-15 minutes of the second half didn't excite them that much, but 40 points they shouldn't be too disappointed with that. Lots of tries from
a lot of it was from the KR point of view was just the crap defence in the middle unit. It was just, again, and it's been a weakness a couple of times, just come through that, come to the line at pace and we'll let you through because you have free hands wafting around your face and you'll dance through quite easily. And it was, the Saints game was pretty bad for it, but this one was another offender on the just poor and some pretty bad reads from it are further out as well on our edges. That really is disappointing because it is the defence that I think needs to tighten up more because we've got the attack is clearly there. You don't score 26 points without it, but just the defence time and again.
Even when you shift one of your main playmakers into hooker out of the halves, you still were able to create chances and score some chances.
The one bright spot was the Chris Atkin try where he was absolutely rapid. He was almost forward because of the speed he was running.
He's got a good bit of toe.
Yeah, he was. That was probably that. And he, to be fair, so far this season has been the little shining light that's done well for us.
For Warrington, they've got some good players that are going to score tries, and I think that's maybe what they've always been leaning on the back of with this slow start to the season in attack. That you kind of thought at some point, signing Charnley, as much as I don't like him, Ryan Atkins.
Do you not like Ryan
Atkins? Lynham's a decent try scorer, and then you've got like attacking weapons in the pack like Darryl Clark and Ben Curry. So at some point it's going to click for them more, and I think that's what the Warrington fans are sat waiting for. And in this game, there was tries scored across the park, wasn't there? There was a try for Cooper, there was a try for Hughes, there was a try for Curry. So in the first half, all the tries were scored by the forwards, and then the second half came around, and you had tries on the left through Lynham, tries on the right through Atkins. So they did do, get their attack off to some good performances. Darryl Clark seems to be getting huge raps as man of the match all over the show, so good pick out by Wire Joe there. Junior Vai made his debut for you guys. Defensively, question marks over him, do you think?
From the highlights I saw, definitely. Wait to see him in a full game that I'm watching, but he seemed to be another perpetrator of the let's just flap some hands around the face and call that a tackle club. Yeah.
Okay, stats then on this one. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add in?
No, I'd quite happily forget about this game. So, in terms of the team's strong attacking stat wins set things up for Wolves in this game. 242 more metres, 4 more breaks, 13 more tackle busts, 17 more successful offloads, as well as fewer errors and penalty conceded.
Yeah, that's pretty comprehensive. Tom Lynham with a try, 133 metres, 4 successful offloads. Steph Ratchford with a try assist, and 134 metres. And he was back on goal kicking in this one. Ben Westwood, 135 metres, 3 successful offloads. The area is rolling back the years. Bryson Goodwin, 9 tackle balls, 183 metres, 4 clean breaks, 3 successful offloads. Then for your losing Rovers, James Donaldson with a try and 134 metres. I'm sure everyone's happy when James Donaldson goes over for tries and puts in good performances and doesn't get injured. Junior Vai on debut with the ball, a try assist, 6 tackle balls, 150 metres, 2 clean breaks. Liam Salter, 121 metres. Justin Carney, 5 tackle balls, 150 metres.
There we go. So moving on before spend too long on that one.
Where are we now? We're on Sunday now, and it was the The first game we're going to talk about from Sunday was Huddersfield 12, Salford 30 in front of 4,385. James Child was the referee who came in for a lot of chat. Now, Mark Wilco sent his first review in, but wants me to read out a slightly adjusted one. But I thought he was quite balanced in his first one, but he's got a more rounded one that is sent me, and he gets to do that because he automates things for me, which means that my life is easier during the week. So he said, a slow, dull game between two poor teams. The score definitely flattered Salford, but the late tries down the edge, Brough would have. With the late tries down the F, Brough would have been defending. As for the red card, I get the frustration as there were some nasty cheap shots throughout the game, but he knows better than anyone that abusing officials gets you an early bath. On the positive side, Matty English had another outstanding game and should be the first name on the team sheet next week. James Child came in for some slaughtering from
Chris Foreman. Yeah, it was brutal. But do you know what makes the referee's job and why we have? There are instances of poor officiating. Do you know what makes it worse than anything? It's the coaches. If the coaches weren't slamming them every week, then we'd probably have more officials because we wouldn't have had all the part-time ones who decided they didn't fancy it. So we'd have more ability to rotate. So when a game ref is having a bad game, we'd be able to put them out of the spotlight for a bit and get them a lower profile fixture. But because we've pissed them all off, frankly, through having a go at them every week non-stop, that's why you get what you deserve, frankly.
Yeah, and this game, obviously, we'll never fully see these decisions that were apparently so baffling, which I think I've read across the board. There was some curious decisions made in the game. But oftentimes, when you see things back, like I was talking about that sin binning in the Wigan game that I thought was never, because I couldn't see the replay at the ground.
Yeah.
But when I watched it back, totally, I understand why it was given. It wasn't a bad nasty tackle, but I can understand based on the way the rules are interpreted and applied why it was given. And I'm sure if you watch stuff back on this game, you'll be able to see that, and none of it excuses Danny Brough going on a foul-mouth tirade. We understand at the match official, so he's been charged with a grade D, which could carry a 3 to 5 game ban, and he's got previous.
Are we really surprised? Are we really surprised as well? When you read it, no. Danny Brough red card for back check. Well, what was blooming surprise, frankly?
Exactly, it's Brough being Brough, and to be honest, it's become the talking point out of this game, when the talking point should be, firstly, that Danny Brough has not been able to contribute in a positive way to this Huddersfield side all season from what I've seen, and secondly, what resilience Salford are showing. The smallest squad in the league, after the toughest period in the league, not necessarily when you look through the lineup, having people that you've got tons and tons of confidence in, like Jack Littlejohn, Bibby and Johnson on the wings just do a passable job. People up front like Ryan Lannon's been not involved this year. Josh Wood's never filled me with great confidence yet so far. But
Junior Sow is a haircut.
Game. Well, Junior Sow's outstanding, but
he's a haircut.
But there's not many people who have been performing on top level in that side on a regular basis, and certainly some of the signings that have come in, you haven't thought of hit the ground running necessarily, but it seems like things are starting to come together, and Ian Watson gets so much credit from me as a Salford coach. He's doing a fantastic job and he's moved them up into the top 8. Now most of it does revolve around a human being that we don't necessarily appreciate a lot of the life choices he made before he came to this country, and let's hope that he doesn't continue to make those bad choices that have resulted in being a convicted spousal abuser. But on the field, Robert Louis is really doing some great things for Salford.
Yeah, and one thing while we're talking Salford, I must touch on the shirt design for Magic Weekend, which came out during the week, which is an absolutely stunning effort. I'm quite a shirt nerd, as people will know, but absolutely stunning effort with a ginormous B in the front, obviously, for the Manchester symbol. And I really like it, and I'm almost tempted to get one.
Well, the Magic Weekend is just around the anniversary of the attacks, isn't it? At the Manchester Arena, and obviously the fundraising efforts there for those families affected and for everyone impacted by that, still needs to go on, because they were just normal people going about normal day, and didn't, what happened to them was absolutely awful. So it's great that there's still fundraising efforts going on, and that Salford are making themselves a visible part of the community in doing that, because these shirts cannot be missed.
I was going to say visible, they definitely, because I was thinking from a supporting Brentford, we are the bees, and I thought, oh, it's got a nice giant bee on it, that'll be a bit different to rock up at Griffin Park into the usual red and white. So you may...
Are you called the bees just because your name begins with a B?
Well, there's lots of